Second concept is that of Ibadah. Ibadah is often translated as worship, which is indeed one meaning of the term. Worship is understood as an act of devotion, submission, and certain ways of salutation, offerings, and making certain gestures. Therefore, Jewish people request Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please assign for us a day. And that day was assigned for them, which was Sabbath. That begins Friday evening and ends Saturday evening. And Christian community came up with the idea that Sunday is the day when we do it. Muslims think Jummah is also like that. No, Jummah is not a sacred day, because the ayah which said, Fas'ala zikrullah, at the same time said, when you have complete prayer, فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. That means it is not day of just Ibadah, but day of translating Ibadah in transactions. And that's where we find these two concepts linked together. So Ibadah becomes essentially a matter of continuation of a commitment of a person in all aspects of life. The word abd means to become subservient, subdued, submissive, and therefore literal meaning of the abd is slave. But an abid in Arabic means a person who is very particular about ibadat. On the other hand, an abd is not just one who is concerned about ibadah, but his whole life is ibadah. Therefore, Ya Ibadi, when the Quran says, it's not saying Ubad. Ubad and Ibadi are two separate concepts. Those who have devoted their life for worshipping are Abid. But when the Quran says Ya Ibadi and Abd, then this Abadiyya is not just a matter of making prayers and fasting, but a matter of putting the whole life as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to live. Therefore, the Quran says that we have not created jinn and ins except for Ibadah, Surah Zariyat, ayah number 56. And therefore, we are reminded several times in a day that we say again and again, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. That we want to seek your help and we want to become your servant. And consequently, the whole life of Muslim is a matter of servitude. But this servitude also means deliverance from all those aspects which misguide us. One single word used by the Quran is Tawhid. So the Quran says, Anebudullah wajtanibut Tawhid. Become Allah's servant and relieve and liberate yourself from all those aspects which are of subservient to others. Glamour, popularity, power, authority, appreciation, all those assume status of God. And people live for that and die for that. The Quran says very clearly that when you say you are abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's not a matter of serving more than one gods, but serve one and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your ilah is only one. This is said again and again. Therefore, the classification of our fuqaha and ulama who talk about ibadat, muamalat, uqubat, etc. are no doubt helpful. But the Quran tells us that abd is a person who has accepted consciously and whose behavior validates whatever he declares by way of becoming only Allah's servant.